October 2009, and we have Itsudemu Bomberman, retitled Bomberman Blitz internationally, released as a download title on DSiWare for the Nintendo DSi in all regions. It is Battle Pack 2. Pretty straightforward. What was attached to full games is now its own thing for a lower price. Sometimes the past battle packs are referred to as Bomberman Blitz. I can't confirm if there's crossplay between this and another console running a battle pack on a cartridge. I'm running this on a 3DS and I can't connect with another 3DS running Land Touch 2's battle pack, but there isn't much new to see anyway. Now there are battle mode only downloadable titles for all three major home consoles and the main portable console. I guess one thing I haven't mentioned is the tutorial. A very extensive one. If you are looking to learn the basics of Bomberman Battle Mode, this would be the place to start. December 2010. We have Bomberman Live Battlefest, released for the Xbox 360 in all regions. Well, it's a sequel to Bomberman Live. More costumes, rule sets, that sort of stuff. It's great it exists, but I just got through 2 years in the past, 40 seconds. Live Battlefest was planned to be ported to the PS3 and Wii, which sadly never happened. This is not a new rendition of the Generation Battle Mode music, it's the same one we had in Live. And aside from the one in Online Japan, the last rendition of it we'll ever hear. Come take a look at this. That is the only known footage of Bomberman 3DS. There are a few promotional screenshots. It looks like it's gonna be another 3D adventure like the Baku's or Generation. An archive of Hudson's official site says there was going to be a multiplayer battle mode, and that in the campaign, Bomberman would fight to free Central City from a renegade robot corps. Puzzles, adventures, local co-op gameplay? So like from the earlier games with Black Bomber, or maybe like in Second Attack with Pommy? When is this going to be released? Sometime in 2011. Great! I can't wait for 2011 to happen. Oh, Hudson doesn't exist anymore. Well, that ain't good. But if Konami acquired them, then that means they own everything they had, doesn't it? It looks like they had a prototype going for Bomberman 3DS, so it shouldn't be too hard to finish it. Well, around this time, Konami released a list of their upcoming games, and Bomberman was not among them, so many people speculated it had been cancelled. But there are lots of articles that attest that an unspecified Konami spokesperson assured everyone that it was not cancelled. The acquisition of Hudson was too recent, so they hadn't made a decision on the game yet. It's in limbo, but it could still happen. There is hope, guys! Well, it's been 10 years and there's still no Bomberman 3DS. They didn't even bother canceling it just to lay it to rest? We're off to a great start with Konami. Thus began the dark age of Bomberman. 2011 became the first year without a Bomberman game since 1989. It's almost poetic. Both Hudson and Rare were founded by brothers. Both companies had very close relationships with Nintendo. Both their characters appeared alongside each other in this comic panel. In 2001, Konami bought large shares in Hudson, while in 2002, Rare was acquired by Microsoft. The characters had a very controversial redesign revealed in 2006. They had their last proper campaign mode in 2008 at this point, and in 2011, Hudson was fully acquired by Konami, while Rare was announced to be fundamentally restructured. Yes, at this point, the last campaign, barring some odd mobile games, was Custom Battler, and Land Touch 2 was the last campaign released in North America. The name does have huge recognition though, and the concept of Bomberman is fairly simple to recreate on the surface, so let's take a minute to talk about bootlegs. Every franchise has them. Some are open about being fan clones, others try to mislead you into thinking they're the real thing, and since many know Bomberman but not many know Bomberman, lots of people just vaguely remember one game or another from their childhood, we can expect a lot of this. But there were other names associated with the franchise, weren't there? Remember, 3 games were renamed Atomic Punk in North America, but nobody really remembers that. But 5 games being renamed Dynablaster in Europe did lead to many people existing who only know about that name and aren't aware that it hadn't been used for a long time after that. The name still has some recognition. And indeed, if we search on the App Store for Atomic Punk, there's nothing there. But Dynablaster does yield some results. Wait, it's trademarked? Neither Hudson nor Konami has touched Dynablaster as a name since the early 90s. So this plays pretty much like what you'd expect from a bootleg. Who made this? Who the hell is BBG Entertainment? Okay, it looks like a small Munich-based company. They make some mobile games. Boulder Dash? That's an old retro game. They say here that they acquired the rights to it. They freshed that game up a bit, made it accessible on modern platforms. I mean, that seems legit, but I can't find anything on them acquiring the rights to Dynablaster. Is this a real trademark? Let's try some brand searches. Okay, so on Justia, I can see that Boulder Dash was owned by First Star Software, the original creators, and BBG acquired it. So that checks out. But what's with Dynablaster? Both Justia and Global Brand Database seem to suggest that BBG registered this as a new IP without mentioning Hudson or Konami at all. Look at their promotional material. The legendary classic Bomber is back. Avoiding saying Bomberman, this just screams bootleg all over. Wait a minute, what if we add a space? So remember how some of the old games were Dynablaster one word and others were Dynablaster two words? And both of them had the TM? Well, I'm no expert on trademark law, but it looks like the trademark that Hudson Soft registered back in the day was Dynablaster two words. So technically the one-word titles with the TM are incorrect. Either way, this trademark ran out everywhere except Italy maybe, and in 2013, BBG, a company entirely unrelated to Hudson and Konami, noticed this and decided to register Dynablaster one word as a trademark. And since the one-word trademark technically didn't exist, it went through and was approved. And BBG can siphon off that brand recognition. And people are falling for this. There are game journalists talking about this cheap bootleg and saying it's the game also known as Bomberman. At first it didn't seem to be paying off too much. Their trademarked Dynablaster only has half as many downloads as the untrademarked Dynablaster Classic, but in October of 2018, the Intellivision Amico was announced, a modern retro console based on some very old consoles. And what do you know, one of the games announced to be on it is not Bomberman, but Dynablaster. And BBG still hasn't been hit with a lawsuit from Konami. Claiming their game was a blockbuster on various consoles, PCs, Atari ST, and Commodore Amiga is objectively wrong though, and false advertising. Their game is a mobile app, soon to be a console release for the Amico, and all these other consoles according to their site. If this legally checks out, then good job, I guess. Wish I'd thought of that. The Atomic Punk trademark seems to be inactive, unless you're making espresso blend or you're a music band. Just saying, people, just saying. Still, BBG can get their Bavarian butts out of here. Scheiß FCB. So what was official Bomberman doing during this time? Mainly a bunch of mobile games. Not that mobile games don't have their place in the gaming market, but no console releases at all alongside them? Not a good fate for our hero. The 3DS has some games early on with Bomberman as a background character. If you count those, then the Wii U is the only Nintendo console without Bomberman on it in some form. He's been on every other one, including Virtual Boy, but we're going to see him again very soon.